So the governor of Wisconsin, Tony Evers, somebody who is pretty much hated in this state because of his progressive takes on the COVID virus and a lot of restrictive legislation that he's had to pass, has really landed this fucker in the hot seat. However, as of just yesterday, he has proposed in the new budget that we join 15 other states in legalizing marijuana for both medical and recreational use. So basically, he was looking at the data that came in from Illinois, in which they legalized it a year ago, and it's undeniable. The profit and the interest alone is just undeniable. If you take a look here, in 1 year, Illinois raised $1 billion, billion with a fucking B, in sales, and $100 million in tax revenue was generated. $100 million in tax revenue. It is insane. Insane. In January alone, Illinois brought in $88 million. January alone, $88 million in marijuana sales. All right, but they noted that $25 million of that was from people out of state. So it pretty much demonstrates that people want it. People from Wisconsin are going to Illinois to get it. Okay. Here's what Evers had to say. Legalizing and taxing marijuana, just like we do already with alcohol, ensures a controlled market and safe product are available for both recreational and medical users and can open the door for countless opportunities for us to reinvest in our communities and create more equitable state. Right? Red and blue states across the country have moved forward with legalization, and there's no reason why Wisconsin should be left behind. Fuck yes, of course. Let me see here. The bill would go through a legislative process, and once passed, be an application process, blah, 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 blah. What are you going to do with the money, Governor? What are you going to do with it? What do you want to do with all this tax revenue? All right. Let me see here. What would you do with that? So the governor has proposed setting aside $80 million of revenue, which they know it's going to generate, a minimum of $80 million of tax revenue, to reinvest in the communities across the state through a new community reinvestment fund. Right here. What a fucking monster! Horrible. Sounds horrible, doesn't it? So let's just get back to, why the fuck marijuana is illegal. That is a good question. Should it be legal? Yeah, not only in Wisconsin, it should be legal federally. So they included this little snippet here. Found this poll from Marquette done just last year. Found that 60% of Wisconsinites support the legalization of marijuana. And 83% of Wisconsinites support the legalization of medical marijuana. Okay, we'll get to recreational marijuana in a second, but medical marijuana. So 83%, that's pretty high. But here's the question. Who the fuck are the 17% opposing the use of medical marijuana? Like, who the fuck are these people? Where the fuck do you get off having a problem with somebody who's suffering from a disease or a debilitating illness to tell them what they can and can't use or object to it in any way? Oh, what? They use marijuana to alleviate pain or anxiety or improve their appetite or some shit like that. And it helps even a modicum, even a tiny little speck. It provides just a little bit of comfort. You have a fucking problem with that? What kind of person are you? How about fuck you? You know, when it comes to medical marijuana, it shouldn't be a matter of who's in favor and who's opposed. It should be, it shouldn't be may I, it should be I am. And go fuck yourself if you have a problem with it. This is between me and my doctor. How is this medical marijuana thing still being argued? I mean, fine. We can talk about the recreational use, but when it comes to medical marijuana, you really have a problem with that? Anybody? Who? Why? It's unbelievable that we live in 2021 now, and there are still people going, no, I do not support the use of medical marijuana for people who have illnesses or disease. Nope. No, you may not. You your fucking mind. Outrageous. Outrageous. If you oppose medical marijuana, fuck you. Fuck you. Okay, and nearly 60% of all Wisconsinites support recreational use. You know, well over half. So, what possible reason could people have for not wanting marijuana to be legal? What are the arguments? Like, what argument has not been deflated to the point of just obliviousness? Like, I think how clueless do you have to be to not recognize that marijuana is far, far less harmful than some of the drugs that we freely sell and consume all the time? Alcohol, tobacco, freely sold, taxed. It is a vice. We recognize its inherent dangers all the time. And nobody ever talks about making those products illegal. Nobody, ever. You know, there is no argument that I can conceive of that you should be able to go, we need to keep marijuana illegal because addiction, danger to the community. What if the kids get it? What if people drive on it or operate heavy machinery? What if somebody smokes a joint and listens to jazz music? What is it? Like, what? Marijuana is, by anybody who's ever used it, either once in their life or uses it daily, is about as benign a drug as you can get. Now, I am not saying it is without any risk. All drugs have a risk. Ingesting any drug, you're taking a chance. But, I mean, there is, as far as I know, no real major risk to casual marijuana use. Now, you can take too much and maybe have a panic attack. I'm sure that could happen. But I really don't think you could take so much that you're going to drop dead. That doesn't happen. That, as far as I know, that doesn't happen. Take a look at this. They actually did research on what people think in America about the difference between alcohol and marijuana. And it's pretty unanimous across the board. Most people, when polled, accept that alcohol is more dangerous than marijuana across all of these different metrics. Men and women, black, white, Hispanic, all these different age groups, college, no college, Democrat, Republican, independent. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Virtually no group is in the majority of thinking that alcohol is less dangerous than marijuana. And this is from years ago. This was from 5 years ago, 6 years ago now. And people, we are not at the stage now where we're just like, yes, let's just leave people alone. There's no reason why people shouldn't be able to use this drug, right? They like it, they want it. It's a revenue stream. It's a tax revenue stream for the state. It could be reinvested in the community. It's a net benefit. It's a net benefit. So, And by the way, the reason that marijuana is legal, I mean, if you don't know why marijuana is illegal in the first place, I mean, all you need to do is just Google why is marijuana illegal, and there's countless websites discussing the lunacy in the history of marijuana in America and how absurd it is. It was a drug, basically, that was only attributed to Mexicans and minorities, and basically it was made illegal to protect, the privileged upper class from the dangerous dark people for any number of ridiculous and absurd claims. Police officers in Texas claim marijuana incited violent crimes, false, aroused a lust for blood, false, and gave its users superhuman strength. What? Just dumb, spurious nonsense, and we got to be scared, and then, the whole reefer madness thing, a bunch of stupid-ass propaganda that scared people. How easily we're scared. And here we are, nearly a century later, still saying, fuck you, mind your own business. I should be able to consume whatever I choose. Right? It is not your decision. It's not your decision. It's my life, my body, so on and so forth. If I want to drink tea, I'll drink tea. If I want to use alcohol, I'll use alcohol. If I want to use marijuana, I'll use marijuana. Shouldn't have a fucking word to say about it. Provided I don't harm anyone or drive a vehicle, because those are crimes. You get it? Unbelievable. Marijuana absolutely should be legal. There's no reason why. Right here, it is still, according to the DEA, a Schedule 1 drug. Schedule 1 drug, marijuana, cannabis, right here. Schedule 1 substance. Chemicals defined as drugs with no currently accepted medical use, bullshit, and a high potential for abuse. Outrageous. I hope this goes through. I hope it goes through nationally. There's no reason why this drug should be illegal. People should have the right to use it. It is a far safer drug than others that we freely accept, including fairly toxic and highly addictive pharmaceuticals that doctors prescribe all the time. But no, we don't seem to recognize that double standard. And I, for one, am in favor of the legalization of marijuana. Regardless of what you think of Tony Evers, everyone should support this decision because, it will be good for the state. It will be good for the state. And if you don't think so, and you are still holding on to these old-timey ideas about what marijuana does to people and how it affects you, and you don't want your kids to get it, listen, save it. Save it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. All you have to, any argument that you have about the dangers of it, just replace weed with alcohol, and then there you go. Otherwise, it's just double standard. I hate double standards. So lay off this cannabis shit and let's get it legalized in Wisconsin and then in the nation. All right, good rant.
Dirty, filthy, mucky,